Hello everyone, I'm the Nerdy Fool and welcome back to Oblivion. We'll be continuing where we left off last time, where the Emperor has just died, and we have been told to leave through the sewers to get to Joffrey to deliver the Amulet of Kings to him to find his heir. We don't know what else is going on necessarily with this story, but we had a group of assassins who'd been hunting down the Emperor for a while and eventually succeeded. So let's head out through the sewers and see where that takes us. Though, first it occurs to me that we never tried putting on the Amulet of Kings ourselves. Only those of the Emperor's bloodline can wear it. Maybe we have it. The Amulet of Kings slips off you as you try to fasten it around your neck. Apparently, we do not have the Emperor's bloodline, which is fair. I guess let's quickly summon our skeleton to help us. Nice. 6 cheese wheels. That seems a bit excessive, but I'm going to grab them anyway. Flour. Restore fatigue, so that's an alchemy ingredient as well. Take your dagger. I was like, did I hear something? Skeleton doesn't last very long. Also was not able to get in and help me with the fight. See, you just hit me. I watched you hit me. 91 of 93. Am I just healing quickly? Because we've gone through a lot of fights where it looks like I should be getting hit or taking damage. 93 of 93. We just re-heal super fast. Huh. I don't know if that's a tutorial thing or if Oblivion just has crazy fast health regen. Is this the way out? I think it might be. In which case, I want to explore elsewhere first. Don't want to miss out on things. So we haven't gone over here yet. Gate is sealed. Alright. Oh. Hello, goblin. So before we chose our class, it took 3 hits to kill a goblin with our flame spell. Now it's 2. I'm guessing that's just based on us having... Ooh, that is really good value for the weight. I didn't actually check how much you weighed. You weigh 15 and are worth 17. I'm gonna drop you. Yeah, I'm guessing that's just due to our destruction skill going up by making it a major skill. So, cool. Meanwhile, I should probably just keep summoning skeletons, even though I've yet to see one actually jump into a fight and help. Because I'm just killing things too fast. But it is what it is. That's cool. So we've got the Imperial symbol here. People used to think that this was like the Skyrim symbol, and then people would point out where it showed up in earlier games, and like, it was hinting to Skyrim. It's the Imperial symbol. The Skyrim symbol is where it's broken, like one of the wings is chipped off, and it's sort of hinting at the Empire crumbling and breaking. That's what Skyrim is all about. But that's just the Imperial Eagle, or Imperial Dragon. dragon. And no, I'm not going to edit any of my race, class, birth sign, whatever. We're good. Okay, things are looking a touch choppy. Should I adjust my graphic settings? No, it's not seeming too bad. Red arrow on the compass shows the direction of Wizened Priory. You can walk there by following the compass or by opening your world map to travel there directly. That's right, we can fast travel immediately to all of the major cities, I believe. But I remember there were ruins over there that are just right across the river, and part of me wants to just check that out first. I'm gonna quickly check out my graphic settings. See if I can tone some things down. It's got everything on Ultra, and I think with recording that's just a touch too much. Be back in a moment. Alright, we're back. I think this is looking smoother to me. So yeah, let's head over there, check out the ruins, because they're directly in front of us. Vilverin? Vilverin? Ooh, we do have a breath meter. I guess that makes sense, since we did learn that there are spells for breathing underwater. Oh, I heard a voice. Friends? Probably not. Looks like a no. You did not last long, skeleton. But long enough to distract. I need to sort things out so it's easier for me to jump between those two spells. I'll grab your boots and your cuirass and gauntlets. That ringing noise, is there a Nirnroot nearby? Or is that coming from the door? Or that. Okay. I have vague memories of Nirnroots.
Who's there? Hello? Who's there?
Just a friend. Why did I put my sword and shield away? Hello? Why and how did I unequip? There we go. That was weird. Just taking the gear off of his body. I probably am not going to grab things that are just a handful of coins. Particularly armor off of the dead. Feels a little weird. Immortal Blood. I like to read all the books. I don't think I used to do that as a kid, but I remember quite a few of them were actually pretty good. So, and I want to get more of the lore of the Elder Scrolls, because while I know some, I don't know a ton. So hopefully people don't get bored of me reading these books, but I want to read them. Immortal Blood by Anonymous. The moons and stars were hidden from sight, making that particular quiet night especially dark. The town guard had to carry torches to make their rounds, but the man who came to call at my chapel carried no light with him. I came to learn that Movath Pekin could see in the dark, almost as well as the light. An excellent talent considering his interests were exclusively nocturnal. One of my acolytes brought him to me, and from the look of him, I at first thought he was in need of healing. He was pale to the point of opalescence, with a face that looked like it had once been very handsome before unspeakable suffering. The dark circles under his eyes bespoke exhaustion, but the eyes themselves were alert, intense, almost insane. He quickly dismissed my notion that he himself was ill, though he did want to discuss a specific disease. Vampirism, he said, and then paused at my quizzical look. I was told that you were someone I should seek out for help understanding it. Who told you that? I asked with a smile. Tessina Gray. I immediately remembered her, a brave, beautiful knight who had needed my assistance separating fact from fiction on the subject of the vampire. It had been 2 years, and I had never heard whether my advice had proved effective. You've spoken to her? How is her ladyship? I asked. Dead, Morveth replied coldly, and then responding to my shock, he added to perhaps soften the blow. She said your advice was invaluable, at least for the one vampire. When last I talked to her, she was tracking another. It killed her. Then the advice I gave her was not enough, I sighed. Why do you think it would be enough for you? I was a teacher once myself years ago, he said. Not in a university, a trainer in the Fighters Guild. But I know that if a student doesn't ask the right questions, the teacher cannot be responsible for his failure. I intend to ask you the right questions. And that he did. For hours he asked questions and I answered what I could, but he never volunteered any information about himself. He never smiled. He only studied me with those intense eyes of his, committing every word I said to memory. Finally, I turned the questioning around. You said you were a trainer at the Fighters Guild. Are you on an assignment for them? No, he said curtly, and finally I could detect some weariness in those feverish eyes of his. I would like to continue this tomorrow night if I could. I need to get some sleep and absorb this. You sleep during the day, I smiled. To my surprise, he returned the smile, though it was more of a grimace. When tracking your prey, you adapt their habits. The next day he did return, with more questions. These ones very specific. He wanted to know about the vampires of Eastern Skyrim. I told him about the powerful tribe, the Volcair, paranoid and cruel, whose very breath could freeze their victims' blood in their veins. I explained to him how they lived beneath the ice of remote and haunted lakes, never venturing into the world of men except to feed. Movarth Pekin listened carefully and asked more questions into the night, until at last he was ready to leave. I will not see you for a few days, he said, but I will return and tell you how helpful your information has been. True to his word, the man returned to my chapel shortly after midnight 4 days later. There was a fresh scar on his cheek, but he was smiling that grim but satisfied smile of his. Your advice helped me very much, he said, but you should know that the Volcair have an additional ability you didn't mention. They can reach through the ice of their lakes without breaking it. It was quite a nasty surprise being grabbed from below without any warning. How remarkable, I said with a laugh, and terrifying. You're lucky you survived. I don't believe in luck. I believe in knowledge and training. Your information helped me, and my skill at melee combat sealed the bloodsucker's fate. I've never believed in weaponry of any kind. Too many unknowns. Even the best bladesmith has created a flawed blade, but you know what your body is capable of. I know I can land 1,000 blows without losing my balance, provided I get the first strike. The first strike, I murmured, so you must never be surprised. And that's why I came to you, said Morvath. You know more than anyone alive about these monsters, in all their cursed varieties, across the land. Now you must tell me about the vampires of northern Valenwood. I dizzy asked, and once again, his questions taxed my knowledge. There were many tribes to cover. The Bon Samu, who were indistinguishable from Bosmer except when seen by candlelight. The Kirilith, who could disintegrate into mist. The Yakef, who swallowed men whole. The dread Telboth, who preyed on children, eventually taking their place in the family, waiting patiently for years before murdering them all in their unnatural hunger. Once again he bade me farewell, promising to return in a few weeks, and once again he returned, as he said, just after midnight. This time, Morvath had no fresh scars, but he again had new information. You were wrong about the Kirilth being unable to vaporize when pushed underwater, he said, patting my shoulder fondly. Fortunately, they cannot travel far in their mist form, and I was able to track it down. It must have surprised you fearfully. Your field knowledge is becoming impressive, I said. I should have had an acolyte like you decades ago. Now tell me, he said, of the vampires of Cyrodiil. I told him what I could. There was but one tribe in Cyrodiil, a powerful clan who had ousted all other competitors, much like the Imperials themselves had done. Their true name was unknown, lost in history, but they were experts at concealment. If they kept themselves well fed, they were indistinguishable from living persons. They were cultured, more civilized than the vampires of the provinces, preferring to feed on victims while they were asleep, unaware. They will be difficult to surprise, Movath frowned, but I will seek one out and tell you what I learned. And then you will tell me of the vampires of High Rock, and Hammerfell, and Elsewhere, and Blackmarsh, and Morrowind, and the Somerset Isles, yes? I nodded, knowing that this was a man on an eternal quest. He wouldn't be satisfied With but the barest hint of how things were, he needed to know it all. He did not return for a month, and on the night that he did, I could see his frustration and despair, though there were no lights burning in my chapel. I failed, he said, as I lit a candle. You were right, I could not find a single one. I brought the light up to my face and smiled. He was surprised, even stunned, by the pallor of my flesh, the dark hunger in my ageless eyes, and the teeth. Oh yes, I think the teeth definitely surprised the man, who could not afford to be surprised. I haven't fed in 72 hours, I explained, as I fell on him. He did not land the first blow, or the last. I was suspecting that the man himself was a vampire, given that they mentioned his constantly being in at night, his exhausted circles under his eyes, pale skin. I thought they were building up to him being the vampire. But no, apparently the priest was the vampire. Cool. Let's take that book with us. It's probably worth something. I do like stories in the Elder Scrolls. They do a good job with them. Now, what are you? Ayleid Well. I think this just restores magic if we're running low. I don't know if it's a one-time thing or once per day or something, but I don't want to waste it. Because I don't need it at the moment. Let's head into Vilverin.
If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get.
Wow, you took him out immediately. He scared me. But it wasn't actually a threat to us. Like, my shield blocked him no problem. Oh, is that a trap? I can't disable it. Oh. Yes, it was. Let's see how quickly my health comes back after that. Yeah, our health is coming back shockingly fast. I don't know if that's a remaster thing.
Where are you?
I'm right here. Are you going to attack, or are you willing to talk? Talk? Not talk.
Today you die.
I do no damage with my mace. Oh. Let's get our skeleton ready.
What's the matter? Getting tired?
No. Alright, so far so good. No, that weighs too much to be of value. Got another tripwire for some sort of... Yeah. Don't want to accidentally get hit by those.
Where are you?
This is a big area. I'm guessing you're all going to just attack. So I should...
There.
Realistically, I should attack first.
Who's there?
But it's like, if one of them wants to talk...
Worry about, I guess. Is my eyes playing tricks? What you got? You'll never take me down.
That was a super whiff.
Best you can do.
Yeah, I'm not used to playing a spellcaster, and I'm actually liking it. It's slow. Much slower than just charging in as a, you know, heavily armed and armored character. But I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Did you just put away your weapons again? So we still need iron gauntlets. No. Oh.
Die! Jump on my sword while you can! Ha! Never take me down!
Gotcha.
Jump on my sword while you can! Ha! You will never take me down!
Okay. Is that the same as what I'm already wearing? No. What I'm wearing is rusty. We are getting low on magic. And we're encumbered again. Probably should make some potions if I'm planning to do so. Because currently I'm just holding all of those ingredients, weighing me down. Let's see, do we have a local map? I thought there was a way to see a local map. That just zooms in and out of the... Toggle details, no. I don't know. I remember there being a way to see a local map, at least in the original. Came in there. Ooh, shiny. What do you do? Wilkard stones. Wilkin stones? Because your magic is at maximum, the Welkin stone remains charged. Okay, so we can use them to refill our magic. I was thinking it was something like that. Do we go downstairs or do we go upstairs? I wish I had a local, like a map of this dungeon so I could see where I've explored so I don't miss anything. I think I'm going to go upstairs. Feels like downstairs will be where where it branches out. Upstairs should be mostly where I've already been. Like, some of the dungeons have multiple areas to them. And so I would think downstairs would be where it would lead to a new area, if anywhere. Dirty scroll. Some of the men were worried about these ruins being haunted, but Mephala take them. This spot's going to be perfect for ambushing merchants along the road, and all under the nose of the Imperial Legion. Finally got some of those big blue stones down today. Bernice got the idea to shoot them down with her bow. Got them all here with me. I don't know what they are, but they stink of magicka. Bet they'll fetch a nice price for the Mages Guild. 2 coins and the Khajiit from Vardenfell set up their camps down in the tomb. Fine by me. Spares the rest of us to smell. 2 coins ran up today. The Khajiit's gone missing. Swore to the 9 you could hear claws scrabbling at limestone, but nothing's down there. I'm guessing she got tired of the smell and snuck out overnight. 2 coin stench could peel shells off mud crabs. I'm surprised she hung around that long. Chances are there is in fact a problem down there that we will have to find out. Guide to the Imperial City. Praise Akatosh, bless the Empire and all its people. My name is Alessia Otis, and I'd like to tell you all about the Imperial City. The Imperial City. Who do you think lives in the Imperial City? Uriel Septim, Emperor of Tamriel, Defender of the Faith, and descendant of the sainted Tiber Septim, Lord Talos, the holy god of state and law in our blessed nine divines. All know the Emperor to be good and holy, to be a good and holy man, for he may often be seen in the Temple of the One, making his devotions to the nine divines and the communion of saints. And where does he live? In the Imperial Palace, in the center of the Imperial City, in the White Gold Tower, which was built many ages ago by the goddess Daedra-loving Aeliads. How fine it is that the stones were raised high by this ancient evil empire are now reconsecrated as a monument to imperial justice and piety. People who visit the Imperial Palace like to walk among the graves of saints and counts, battle mages, and emperors, and gaze with wonder upon White Gold Tower, which can be seen from any place within the city. The Elder Council Chamber here cannot be entered, and though you may marvel at their curious ancient armors, you will soon want to be away from the rude and discourteous Imperial guards. The Imperial City districts. The Imperial City is divided into 10 districts. At the center is the Imperial Palace. The other districts are grouped around the palace. The northwest is the Elven Gardens, a pleasant residential district. Continuing Widdershins, the Talos district, an exclusive residential area, lies to the west. To the southwest is the Temple district, and beyond it, outside the walls, the filthy and bad-smelling waterfront district. To the southeast lies the Arboretum, and beyond that, outside the walls, the infamous Arcane University of the Mages Guild. To the east is the notorious Arena District, and last, to the northeast of the palace lies the Market District, where anything may be bought, and beyond the Market District, outside the city walls, the Imperial Prison. The Temple District. I live in the Temple District of the Imperial City, and it is a very pretty place. You are welcome to visit me, my husband, and daughter when you come to worship at the Temple of the One. This district is very pretty, and only pleasant and well-bred persons live here, though, as is in all parts of the city, beggars are a constant problem. The Arboretum. In this beautiful garden, you will find the famous statues of the Nine Divines. In the center, you will find the statue of Lord Talos, Emperor Tiber Septim. But is it right that Talos should have this place of honor, rather than Akatosh, King of Gods? It is the scheming pride of the Elder Council, who sought favor with the sons of Talos, that is responsible for this shameful error. The Market District. You will find crowds of people waiting outside the doors of the Office of the Imperial Commerce to make their complaints about being cheated by some merchant. It is a very dirty place. Piles of crates lie around in untidy heaps, unwholesome toadstools and fungus grow in clumps, and the cobbles are slimy and encrusted with filth. If you may send your servant rather than visit yourself, it would be far better. The Arcane University. This place is unspeakably dirty and unkempt, no better than a slum. You will never find the students or wizards outside in the air, for they are squatting in their dark dungeons, poring over profane texts, and making crabbed scribbles on scrolls. Within the Archmage's Tower is hidden the Imperial Orrery, which the mages use to study the sky. Such fools! Why do they not look on the glory of creation itself and give praise to the Nine as they ought, rather than squat and peer at such a ridiculous and expensive machine? The mages are said to have a great library of precious books, but they jealously hoard them for themselves. This is no loss for the righteous, for these books are surely full of wicked nonsense. This author is just like, yeah, I don't know much about the mages and what they're actually doing or what their books say, but they're probably terrible. Imperial Waterfront. This is a terrible place. It is not uncommon to stumble over the bodies of women and children who have been murdered here. There are no more wicked and godless men in Tamriel than merchants and sailors, and they gather here to plot and cheat citizens of their hard-earned gold. Gambling, enslaving, and skooma sucking, and even more depraved activities take place in warehouses and ships here, and where are the city watch? Nowhere to be seen. The Imperial Prison. The prisons are very cruel and horrible, damp and dirty, with chains and pincers and manacles and instruments of torture on every hand. But did I find any prisoners in these cells? No, for the watch is so lazy and careless that the cells are all empty. There are guards everywhere in the Imperial City. They travel in groups, for even they are afraid of the cruel bandits and thieves that lurk everywhere in the city. I do not know why they do not throw the impertinent beggars into prison. Criminals are so bold as to introduce themselves to you on the street. One outlaw was so brazen as to boast that he had stolen his weapons and armor from the Imperial prison. How careless and idle these watchmen must be to allow this. They show no shame, for the wicked officers of the watch are corrupt and accept gold from the hands of the very people they are supposed to place behind bars. In the arena. I will not tell you about this place, for you have no need to visit it. Only idle or foolish persons come here to throw their money away on games of chance, or to spill their own blood, when they would be better devote themselves to exterminating the armies of robbers and beggars that swarm in the streets. May the Nine bless you and keep you. Yeah, I don't know if good people should be exterminating beggars. It feels like a wrong option. Like, you may not like beggars, but exterminating people just because they don't have money to live on their own feels bad. Alright, so that's the upstairs. We've already been over to that side, so let's head down the stairs and see where that takes us. Hello. My guess is you are also not going to want to talk to us. Yep.
What's the matter? Getting tired? Let's get this.
You have a ton of health.
You move like a pregnant cow.
You move like a pregnant cow. Oh, I am out of magic now.
Show me what you've got.
Luckily, you don't seem to hit very hard because you're not doing much damage to my skeleton. Hello. A guy who is out of magic. Give me a moment.
I'd better cut down on the ale.
Yeah.
Starting to see things I am. Your presence here
Nope.
will not be tolerated.
My sneak was not sufficient. Oh, I don't want to fight two of you at once.
Now you will know pain.
There we go. Yikes. We're good. We're good. Iron battle axe. That's probably a two-handed weapon. Yeah, that was a bit scary. But destruction is quickly becoming my bread and butter. Like, I intended to be a bit of a combat guy as well. But since I didn't put any skills in it, I'm not good at it. And because I'm not good at it, I don't use it. Let's see about alchemy. So if I do apple for restore fatigue. No, your restore. No. How do I remove you? Let's pull you out. There we go. Because you restore fatigue. I don't know why I necessarily want restore fatigue. How do we filter? Ah. So I can just filter by things. How do I get back? There we go. Okay, so let's grab all of the heavy items. I guess I'm actually just gonna go through all of my restore fatigue stuff. There we go. So then we could then do restore health. We only have one item. What about fortify health? Only one item. Okay. Well, this is neat. So these are all of the items that I have any sort of effects for that I know of. Now, we know items have 4 effects. We just don't know. Our alchemy is too low to know what the other effects on them are. So some of these might also have restore fatigue or restore health. We just don't know. But hopefully that, yeah, that helped our encumbrance because some of those items were pretty heavy. Brief History of the Empire, Volume 4. 9 pages. Brief History of the Empire, Part 4. The first book in this series described in brief the first 8 emperors of the Septim dynasty, beginning with Tiber I. The second volume described the War of the Red Diamond and the 6 emperors who followed. The third volume described the troubles of the next 3 emperors, the frustrated Uriel VI, the ineffectual Sepphoris II, and the heroic Uriel V. On Uriel V's death, across the sea in distant hostile Akavir, Uriel VI was but 5 years old. In fact, Uriel VI was born only shortly before his father left for Akavir. Uriel V's only other progeny, a more morganatic alliance, were the twins Morinhatha and Eloisa, who had been born a month after Uriel V left. Uriel VI was crowned in the 290th year of the Third Era. The imperial consort, Thornica, as the boy's mother, was given a restricted regency until Uriel VI reached his majority. The Elder Council retained the real power, as they had ever since the days of Catariah I. The council so enjoyed its unlimited, unrestricted freedom to promulgate laws and generate profits that Uriel VI was not given full license to rule until 307, when he was already 22 years old. Wow. He was 22 years old, and the council was still trying to keep the emperor from having power. That's interesting. So, is the council still in power? He had been slowly assuming positions of responsibility for years, but the council and his mother, who enjoyed her even her limited regency, were loath to hand over the reins. By the time he came to the throne, the mechanisms of government gave him little power except for that of the imperial veto. This power, however, he regularly and vigorously exercised. By 313, which was 6 years later, Uriel VI could boast with conviction that he truly did rule Tamriel. He utilized defunct spy networks and guard units to bully and coerce the difficult members of the Elder Council. His half-sister, Morinhatha, was, not surprisingly, his staunchest ally, especially after her marriage to Baron Ulf Gerson of Winterhold brought her considerable wealth and influence. As the sage Ugarij said, Uriel V conquered Esroniet, but Uriel VI conquered the Elder Council. When Uriel VI fell off a horse and could not be resuscitated by the finest imperial healers, his beloved sister Morinhatha took up the imperial tiara. At 25 years of age, she had been described by admittedly self-serving diplomats as the most beautiful creature in all of Tamriel. She was certainly well-learned, vivacious, athletic, and a well-praised politician. She brought the Archmagister of Skyrim into the Imperial City and created the second Imperial Battle Mage since the days of Tiber Septim. Morinhatha finished the job her brother had begun, and made the Imperial Province a true government under the Empress, and later the Emperor. Outside the Imperial Province, however, the Empire had been slowly disintegrating. Open revolutions and civil wars had raged unchallenged since the days of her grandfather, Sepphoris II. Carefully coordinating her counterattacks, Morinhatha slowly claimed back her rebellious vassals, always avoiding overextending herself. I wonder if this is leading to what we see in Skyrim, where if at this point in time, I guess we need to see, I don't know how close this is to the current time frame, but if this is nearby, then if the Empire was somewhat in decline already and just had a couple of people trying to bring it back into power, then it would make sense why it so quickly fell into disarray by the time of Skyrim. Though I don't know the time jump between Oblivion to Skyrim either. Though Morinhatha's military campaigns were remarkably successful, her deliberate pace often frustrated the council. One councilman, an Argonian who took the Colovian name of Thorisles Ramus, furious at her refusal to send troops to his troubled Black Marsh, is commonly believed to have hired the assassins who claimed her life in 3rd Era 339. We don't know. I could probably figure out the timeline because they mention how different her age was, but Not that far. Promise was summarily tried and executed, though he protested his innocence to the last. Mornhatha had no surviving children, and Eloisa had died died of a fever 4 years before. Eloisa's 25-year-old son, Pelagius, was thus crowned Pelagius IV. Pelagius IV continued his aunt's work, slowly bringing back under his wing the radical and refractory kingdoms, duchies, and baronies of the empire. He exercised Mornhatha's poise and circumspect pace in his endeavors, but alas, he did not attain her success. The kingdoms had been free of constraint for so long that even a benign imperial presence was considered odious. Nevertheless, when Pelagius died after a notably stable and prosperous 29-year reign, Tamriel was closer to unity than it had been since the days of Uriel I. Our current emperor, his awesome and terrible majesty Uriel the Seventh, son of Pelagius IV, has the diligence of his great-aunt Mornhatha and the political skill of his great-uncle Uriel VI, and the military prowess of his great-grand-uncle Uriel V. For 21 years he reigned and brought justice and order to Tamriel. In the year Third Era 389, however, his imperial battle mage, Jargar Tharn, betrayed him. Uriel VII was imprisoned in a dimension of Tharn's creation, and Tharn used his sorcery of illusion to assume the emperor's aspect. For the next 10 years, Tharn abused imperial privilege, but did not continue Uriel VII's schedule of reconquest. It is not yet entirely known what Tharn's goals and personal accomplishments were during the 10 years he masqueraded as his liege lord. In 399, an enigmatic champion defeated the battle mage in the dungeons of the imperial palace and freed Uriel VII from his other dimensional jail. I'm assuming this is about either Arena or Daggerfall. Since they're being vague about the champion, that's usually how they handle the various major characters of previous games. Since his emancipation, Uriel VII has worked diligently to renew the battles that would reunite Tamriel. Tharn's interference broke the momentum, it is true, but the years since have proven that there is hope of the golden age of Tiber Septim's rule, glorifying Tamriel once again. Okay, so you have Uriel I, or Tiber I, whoever... military prowess of Uriel V. Anyway, Tamriel at one point was united, or close to it, and it slowly decayed to the point where the different provinces had their freedom again. And with Uriel VI, and then Empress Mornhatha, and on to, each one is slowly trying and gaining a bit more control of the various nations in the empire, mostly unsuccessfully. But by the end of Uriel VII's life, Tamriel is close to being reunited. But then we get to Skyrim, where Emperor Uriel VII is dead. And that explains why we get to the point where Skyrim is trying to break free, and there's, a lot of chaos between the different factions. I see. So it wasn't that the Empire was solid and then the death of the Emperor led to everything falling apart. The Empire itself was already in a pretty precarious state where multiple emperors have been trying to strengthen it and unite it. But all of the various countries were sort of chafing under that and wanted to be out from under it. So with the death of the Emperor, the Empire just kind of fell apart. Makes sense. Trying to slowly get the lore and history to make sense in my mind. How it all pieces together. I guess that's it for here. Now we have stone door to Vilverin Canacel. Oh, I leveled up. I just noticed that symbol in the corner of my screen. Let's take care of that. We'll sleep for an hour. It's midday. You have ascended to level 2. You realize that all your life you've been coasting along as if you were in a dream, suddenly facing the trials of the last few days. you've come alive. So the way this works, which is different than how it worked in the base Oblivion game, is that we can apply 3 attributes. It's no longer based on what skills we leveled up. We just have the freedom to level up whatever we want. Luck takes 4 points to raise. So, yeah, kind of hard to raise. The others is a single point. We can raise any of them up to a +5. So I'm going to ignore luck. I don't think it's overly important and it costs too many points. It's far more useful to raise other things. So intelligence and willpower are probably the core ones we need to focus on as our magic stats. But I also want to get my endurance up sooner rather than later, so we have more health to protect us. And then we've got 2 points left. I guess I'll just put those in willpower. Part of me wants to keep everything as nice round numbers, but with 12 points, that's not going to happen. So it is what it is. We'll go with that. Get a bit more health, a bit more magic, and a bit more regen. And now we're ready to go down to the next level. So we'll end the episode here. Next time we will delve a bit deeper and see what else Vilverin has to show us. See y'all then. Thanks for watching. Bye.